Hi LCS artist! Today we're going to be making a color wheel. A color wheel is a tool that helps us remember the primary and secondary colors. For this project, you're going to need a pencil, you're going to need a circle that you can trace, you're going to need a ruler, you're going to need a black marker or a Sharpie marker, and you're going to need something to color with. So I'm going to start off by having my paper horizontally, and I'm going to write my name and my room number on the back of my paper. And then I'm going to flip over my paper so that I cannot see my name anymore. Once I have my paper flipped over, I'm going to take a circle and I'm going to trace that circle right in the middle of my paper. Now this is the trickiest part, so you might have to pause and go back, or you might have to erase. I'm going to use a ruler and I'm going to draw a line that goes down right in the middle of my circle. I'm going to line it up, draw my line. Now I have 2 sections, but I need 6. To get the 6 sections, I'm going to make an X like this that goes across my paper. So I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to put my pencil down first, line up my ruler, draw my line. So there's one side of my X. I'm going to line up my ruler and draw my line this way. So then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sections. Once I have that drawn with pencil, I'm going to go back in and I'm going to trace all of my sections. We're kind of almost making like a pie or a piece of pizza that we're dividing up into 6 pieces. And remember, I always like to turn my paper when I trace. It just makes it a lot easier for me. I suggest you do the same thing. So now I have 6 sections and I'm ready to start labeling my color wheel. So I'm going to start right here and I'm going to write my primary colors first. So I'm going to do red, R-E-D. Then I'm going to skip this one and over here I'm going to write blue, B-L-U-E. And then I'm going to skip this one, and down here I'm going to write yellow. Y-E-L-L-O-W, because the 3 primary colors are red, blue, and yellow. Now, let's think back to what we've learned before. What color does red and blue make when they're mixed together? If you said purple, you're right. So I'm going to write purple, P-U-R-P-L-E. Now I'm going to think, when red and yellow mix together, what color do I get? If you said orange, you're right again. So I'm going to write O-R-A-N-G-E. And then let's do the last section. When I mix yellow and blue together, what color do I get? If you said green, you are right. G-R-E-E-N. So now I have the 6 colors of my color wheel. Now, I'm also going to label these primary or secondary. So underneath red, red is a primary color, so I'm going to write primary, P-R-I-M-A-R-Y, primary. Now blue is also a primary color, so I'm going to write primary underneath blue, P-R-I-M-A-R-Y. And finally, yellow is a primary color, so I'm going to write P-R-I-M-A-R-Y. Y for primary. So now red, yellow, and blue are my primary colors. Orange, purple, and green are what are called secondary colors. So I'm going to write the word secondary underneath those names. So under purple, I'm writing secondary, S-E-C-O-N-D-A-R-Y. Don't worry if you can't fit the whole word in there. It doesn't have to be perfect. This is just so you remember the primary and secondary colors. So down here, green is a secondary color, so I'm going to write secondary again. And then finally, underneath orange, I'm going to turn my paper. I'm going to write secondary. So once I have that part of my color wheel finished, I'm going to start to color with my colored pencils or markers or whatever you have available to you. I think I'm just going to be using my colored pencils because I have them right here. So I'm going to start with my primary colors. I'm going to do my red. And the nice thing about doing this with marker is I can just go in and I can color on top with the colored pencil and it will not smear. I'm just going to do my best coloring. So I'm just going to keep coloring until all of my sections are colored in, and then we'll be ready for the next step. I'm just finishing coloring the last section of my color wheel. I'm using my orange colored pencil for that, and orange is a secondary color. Now, I thought it would be fun if we turned our color wheel into a snail. So now I'm just going to pretend this is my shell for my snail, and I'm going to draw the snail's body. So I'm going to start with my pencil, make a curvy line over, curvy line across. I'm going to go up, and I'm going to curve the snail's head. I'm just going to make two little lines going up for the eyeballs, cute little mouth, nose, and my snail's eyes. Once I'm finished with my snail, I'm going to take a Sharpie and I'm going to trace my pencil lines. And remember, I always turn my paper when I trace. It just makes it a lot easier to trace your lines. Trace my eyes. Now, if you wanted to, you could always go back in and pick the colors that you'd like to color your snail, but I think I'm just going to finish my project by writing down what this is called. This is called the color wheel. So I'm just going to write at the top, the T-H-E, color, C-O-L-O-R, and wheel, W-H-E-E-L. Now I'm all finished with my color wheel, and I won't forget the primary colors or the secondary colors. Thanks for making this activity with me. I'll see you soon.